In this lesson, we're going to talk about headers and footers as they relate to printing a worksheet in Excel. So let's start off just by talking about what those are. I'm going to go over here and you'll see I don't have anything above my table really. I'm going to go to the print preview. And now you'll see I've got my regular worksheet, which I'm expecting, but then in the upper right, I've got a date and a time. This is actually the date and time the workbook was refreshed. If you go to the bottom left corner, I have a company logo here. In the middle, I've got page numbers and it says page 1 of 4. So I can scroll through these and it's going to dynamically change based on what page I'm on. And the last thing I have on this is the path and file name of the file I'm working in. What you're going to see is that if you print out spreadsheets and give them to people in meetings, everybody's always going to know when was the data refreshed, where can I find this file, and then just to make sure they've got the right number of pages, the page numbers come in. So maybe you had 10 pages that were printed out, but somebody only got 4. Then the page numbers will say you've got 4 out of 10. So these can be really important, especially if you're printing things out. And let's go in and see how to make those. So as you see, I don't have a date and time up here anywhere. It's in the headers. So let's go ahead and get to those. Now, what we need to do is we need to go to a different view. We're going to go to the page layout view. Click on that. And now in page layout, I have my regular worksheet area, but above that, if you get your mouse over there, you see I've got 3 sections at the top and 3 sections at the bottom. All right, let's go back to the top. Now, here's one distinction. What's the difference between a header and a footer? Well, the header is the information you put at the top of the document, and a footer is the information you put at the bottom. So you can put things in either section, left, middle, or right. Typically for me, when I'm doing a header or footer, I don't want much on the header. I might just put date and time where I have it now in the upper right, or I might put the page numbers up there, but I really don't want to crowd up that upper margin. So you see in there right now, we got this funky notation. We got the ampersand date minus ampersand time. Let's go ahead and delete that, and we'll show how to put that in. So first things first, in headers and footers, you can type whatever you want to. So I could just type in, and that would be fine. However, it would never update. If I went into my worksheet, I would have to manually update that date every time. And we want it to change as we update the file. So let's go in here and wipe that out again. And now that you're on one of the areas of a header or footer, you have a header and footer menu and ribbon. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at these fields for headers and footers. Page number, number of pages, current date, current time, file path, file name, sheet name, and picture. So let's go ahead and we want to put in the current date. So let's click on current date. And then so I have some space, I'm going to hit a couple spaces, a dash, a couple more spaces, and current time. And now if I click outside there, that shows you, Excel shows you how it's going to display when you print it out. Let's go down to the footer, and there's a couple of ways you can do that. If I'm not on the header, I can scroll down and get on the footer. But if I am on the header, I can go on my ribbon and just say go to footer. And it pops me right down to the footer. So again, we've got stuff in all 3 sections here, and we're going to see how to do that. But let's start with the middle. We've got page 1 of 4. So we want to try to put that in the middle. Let's go ahead and delete all that. And then let's go use our fields in header and footer. Over here we've got page number, and then we've got number of pages. So I'll click that, and then click off to see what it'll look like. 14. That may not seem like it's accurate. However, if I go in there again, I've got the page right next to the pages. So there's nothing to delineate those. Let's go in here and between page and pages, type the word of, and then in front of it, let's just type the word page. So now, oops, we gotta have another space in there. So now I've got something that makes sense. It's page 1 of 4. But what we did to get that is we mixed our typing some information in with the fields we can use for the footer and header. So it's a really good combination there. Now the next one over we're gonna do is our file path and file name. So if I click here and get rid of this, I can go to my header and footer menu and click on the file path. And when you do that file path, it actually puts the file name in there for you. So if I go ahead and see what that looks like, wow, that's a lot. Now that's because it's off on my OneDrive and it's sitting out there. So that path's pretty big. What I did for this example is I went back in here and I removed the path and just typed a simple one. And now that's a bit more readable. More than likely, if you're storing things on a OneDrive or the cloud, you're going to have that really long path, but maybe you have a specific drive letter mapped to it. So that's where you can go in and kind of do a hybrid and do some text typing and one of those fields. Well, now let's go over here and put that logo into the left side. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And now I want to do a picture. And I'll replace, it's still detecting it's there. So I'll browse from a file. And here it's come up to my directory with my logos. Let me click this one right here. Insert. Let's see what it looks like. Whoa! Way too big. So you can modify the size, but unfortunately in headers and footers, you can't click on that picture and use handles to size it down. What we're going to have to do is get on that picture, go to headers and footers, and then you've got a command that opens up Format Picture. Click that. And I can do some other things. I can do some sizing things, lock the aspect ratio. But what I really want to do is scale the height and width. So I'm going to scale the height down to about 20%. Hit enter. There, much better. So you might have to play with that a little bit to get it in there right, but you can put it in there. All right, so that's basically how to work with headers and footers and why they're important. Again, when you're printing out a document, it gives some people some extra information about that document and lets them know where they can get a copy or where the data came from. All right, let's get ready for the next lesson.